Aaron and Natasha. News and traffic. Mulcair and Mennie. It's all here in one big show. Montreal Now on News Talk Radio, CJAD 800.
That's us. James Mennie is on the line. So, Jim, breaking news, if you will. This is something we talked about last week, right? It turns out the NDP has, in fact, sided with the Liberals in that block motion on the legitimacy, I guess, of using the notwithstanding clause in Quebec.
Well, be careful. It's the legitimacy of using the notwithstanding clause with, as a preemptive measure. And I have to. It's kind of funny because before anyone in Quebec starts going, "Oh, those new Democrats, they're so dreamy." In fact, what they're doing is they're reaching out to the union members who got bulldozed by Doug Ford by using essentially back to work legislation, took away the right to negotiate. And imposed work conditions on them and used the notwithstanding clause to prevent any kind of a court challenge. So all that said, New Democrats are going for, their traditional base, union members. The Conservatives voted in favor of the block motion, which is essentially what, I call these things mischief motions if they come from the block, because they're just, they're just trying to cause a bit of zizanie in the House of Commons. And they turn around and say, it's for the provinces and the provinces alone to decide how they use the notwithstanding clause. And the Conservatives voted in favor of that because, as you know, the Conservatives basically will allow any provincial government to do whatever it wants anytime if it could result in winning seats in that province. And Gérard Deltel, who's a longtime Conservative MP, essentially said, well, you know what, if you don't like it, go to court, even though the notwithstanding clause makes your going to court a waste of time. So that's where we are on that. It was of some concern though, because I mean, for me, and I think for a lot of people in Quebec, if this thing had gone through, it was going to be it's like ringing the dinner bell for all those constitutional sharks. You know what I mean? It's like you could do whatever you want. And I know I've sort of warned about this, and perhaps the prediction is over the top. But like I say, once you start snuffing out one right, it's like eating potato chips. Once you start, you can't stop.
But can I just ask, with respect to this now, is this dead now? When does this come up again? Does someone else have to introduce a motion for this to come up again? Because beyond Quebec, this would apply to any province in Canada, wouldn't it?
Well, absolutely. And the fact is, right now, the government, as it is formed by the Trudeau Liberals and the Singh NDP, are saying no, we do not support that notion. And all of this, of course, is a prelude to Justin Trudeau's long-awaited intention of referring the entire matter to the Supreme Court. So I guess he figures the coast is clear on that. But by tomorrow, certainly by Wednesday, you'll probably have not so much François Legault, because he's still got stuff to deal with Ottawa in terms of health funding, but certainly Blanchette's going to be hopping up and down trying to appeal to his base in Quebec, saying, look, another humiliation, another slap, another example of Quebec being forced to its knees by this federal foreign government.
Yeah, or as the Bloc calls it, Monday. Okay, let's talk about the balloons, right? Because this is going to be kind of lead into our second question. I'm sorry, I don't mean to laugh. I just think this whole thing is just kind of silly. Who knows? Maybe we're all crazy.
Yeah.
All right.
As soon as you start hearing...
when those space balloons disgorge their crews and you're working in an outer space factory somewhere, you'll be laughing on the other side of your face, my mom used to say. No, listen, I love this story because it's going completely out of control, right? We start with the first Chinese spy balloon that gets shot down off of North or South Carolina, and the Republicans are hopping up and down saying this is a violation of our airspace, blah, 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 blah. Then we have three other incidents, one in Alaska, U.S. airspace, one in the Yukon, which is part of Canada, but apparently seems to be part of U.S. airspace, and one over, of all places, Lake Huron. Okay? The problem is, except for the first case, they aren't specifying what they shot down. And because it's an unidentified flying object, they're calling them unidentified flying objects. So you fill in the blanks, right? All those leftover Navy fighter tapes that have been bouncing around the internet, that's going in there. There's some Air Force general at the Pentagon who says, well, you have to be careful. He goes, well, we're not discounting anything right now, which means we don't know. Okay, but of course they fill that vacuum with the fact that this is like the Klingon battle fleet, except they're using balloons. You know.
Okay.
The funny thing is now, and just this afternoon, and thank God, Montreal Now is here because we always get the breaking news. There's another sighting that occurred apparently last summer over New Brunswick.
Now referred to as what, Jim? Is this?
Meanwhile, the Chinese government is saying, "Oh yeah, well we saw 10 air balloons coming over our country, so shut up."
So this is now, I have to refer to this part of New Brunswick now as Area 51. Is that the idea, Jim? Or
52 maybe.
Oh.
51.5.
Look, I love Natasha's take on this. When we started talking about this off the top of the show, she's kind of in here with you thinking these could be, what'd you say, aliens possibly,
I mean,
right?
Who knows? But I think they need to give as much information as possible. Otherwise, we're just going to run wild with it.
We're already doing that.
Yeah, but you're at the point now where even today, the White House press secretary said there is absolutely no evidence whatsoever that any of this is linked to extraterrestrial activity. And if you aren't doing it already, Natasha, I can assure you that most of the audience that heard that was nodding very slowly, going, sure.
Okay.
I'm not a conspiracy theorist. I'm the farthest thing from it. But I do imagine that there's going to be a lot of imitation of it. And that's the thing. Like, you want as much information out there as possible. But the more we talk about it, the more people are going to feel compelled to try and copy it.
Isn't that the truth, though? I was thinking exactly the same thing. These things now, we have 2, we have 3, 4. Now maybe there's 5, Jim. What does this do? It leads people to go out there and say, hey, I'm going to let one of those things go up. And they can try to figure out where that's from, too. Sadly, that's where we live.
Well, yeah. I mean, but this is it. On the other hand, the other cliche is if we told the public the truth, there'd be chaos.
They can't handle the truth.
They can't handle the truth. So, yeah, exactly. This is it. It just turns into this long string of cliches. But my, oh my, it's kind of funny as well, though, that with all the stuff that's going on this planet right now that we should be paying attention to, and it's human nature, right? In the end, if there's a good story going on over our heads, all of us look up.
Yeah, I was like, given the last 3 years and how completely wonky everything has been, how far from the realm of possibility is it that aliens might be arriving and trying to take over, and we're all just going to be working for them?
Calm down.
Well, in lighter than air balloons, I'm not sure, unless of course they're not balloons.
They gave us COVID
They could be
first.
weightless, Jim. The aliens, right?
They could
consider that they could be weightless. How do we know?
Maybe what we're calling balloons are the aliens themselves.
Thank you very much.
It could be.
Yeah.
Could be.
Well, I'm certainly glad we had a chance to expound on this.
They gave us COVID first, by the way, just to beat us into submission first, so we would be in this subdued state, and then
they blame the Chinese for that, and then the Chinese. By the way, Jim, to your mention of the Chinese saying the U.S. has done this to them. What has the U.S. said to this? Nothing.
Nothing, because they're not really on speaking terms with the Chinese government at the moment. But the Chinese government is saying we've clocked at least 10 of yours over our country in the past year.
And the U.S. is denying that. Okay.
Well,
Nice to keep the story going.
Look at the text
James Mennie,
in.
it's pretty crazy. James Mennie at the Montreal Gazette. Jim, thank you.
Adamant.